Hello everyone, I'm Aarti Kamraj, lead product marketer of Zoho PageSense. So welcome to today's session where you get to experience the power of advanced A/B testing with Zoho PageSense. This is today's agenda. So we'll start by busting some standard A/B testing myths, and we'll also cover the basics you need to know to run an A/B testing experiment. You'll also get to know that the cool advanced A/B testing features and integrations of Zoho's A/B testing module. And we'll also have a live demo of the A/B testing module along with a live Q&A session at the end. So now let's start the session with busting some A/B testing myths. I'm pretty sure you must have heard this by so many of your colleagues or your teammates. Try A/B testing, it will increase conversions. So A/B testing is not a guarantee of increased conversions, it's basically validating your ideas with data. And in A/B testing, it really depends on what you're actually testing. So if you're just tweaking some small details, design details, or messing with some elements that don't have a big impact on your conversion process, so don't expect a conversion boost. So it's not a magical fix that will make your numbers skyrocket overnight, right? Instead, think of it as a process driven by data that needs careful planning, ongoing effort, and a full picture approach to optimizing your website. So when done right, A/B testing can definitely improve your conversion rates only when you stay committed to making things better over time. You also have to keep testing, keep tweaking to see those long-term gains. So in short, one single A/B test might not blow your mind, but a bunch of well-planned tests can actually add some real improvements in the conversion rates. Number 2, your instincts work better than A/B testing. Like I mentioned earlier, A/B testing is basically validating your ideas with data, right? So human instincts are often influenced by personal preferences and past experiences. So what may seem like a good idea to one person might not click with your website audience. So A/B testing on the other hand relies on data from real user interactions. I'm not saying that instincts and experience are not valuable in decision making. They definitely are. They should complement and not replace A/B testing. So A/B testing involves evidence, minimize bias, lead to more effective strategies and better outcomes over time. Number 3, this worked for your friend's website, right? So it will definitely work for you. Try it, right? You must have heard this also. You must have also come across a bunch of A/B testing success stories and case studies online where a specific layout or design or a creative copy increase double the conversion rates. So you should never blindly copy someone else's success without putting it to test in your own world. In fact, if you already follow some CR experts on LinkedIn, you should know how much they hate the term best practices because it may not actually be the best practice for you, for your business. Why? The context matters, right? So basically, A/B testing is all about comparing different versions of something like a web page or an ad to see which one performs better. Sometimes what works like a charm for one website might fall flat for you. Why? Because each business is unique with its own audience, products, demand, marketing plan, promotions, and much more. So don't assume that their marketing plan could be your golden ticket to try it. Number 4, bug fixes are experimentation. No, bug fixes and experimentation are completely different in software development. So fixing bugs in software is like repairing things that are broken to make the software work as it should. On the other hand, experimentation is like trying out new stuff to see if it can make the software better. So they are different because fixing bugs is about finding and solving problems that shouldn't be there, while experimentation is about testing new ideas or changes that can have a potential impact on your KPIs. After you finish your A/B tests, you are done. So A/B testing is an ongoing process of continuous optimization, right? So what works today might not work tomorrow due to changing user behavior, external factors. So let me give you an example. So you see how Apple or Samsung keeps updating their gadgets, design, or even software from time to time, right? This is because they are responsive to external factors. They listen to user feedback, and they keep improving the user experience and performance of their gadget. So what worked last year might not work in the long run due to changing user behavior and other external factors. So I hope this example it shows how the importance of the ongoing optimization in A/B testing. You need to be tech savvy with a large budget to do A/B testing. So you don't have to be tech savvy, and you definitely don't need large budgets to A/B test your website. There are so many affordable and user friendly options available like Zoho PageSense itself. For example, Zoho PageSense offers an inbuilt visual editor with drag and drop interface, making it easy for marketers with limited tech knowledge, tech backgrounds to create and launch experiments. So we are PageSense also offers like a wide range of CRO tools structured under different pricing plans that cater to SMBs and enterprises as well. So let's move on to A/B testing. So what is A/B testing? A/B testing is when you test two versions A or B of the same variable, such as a landing page or page elements, to identify which one performs better. So the basic idea behind this is to run both the versions simultaneously to see which one has the highest impact. So here's how it works. First, you show the version A to one group of visitors and version B to another group. And then you keep a close eye on something called the conversion rate. That is the percentage of visitors who do the thing that you want them to do, like making a purchase, signing up, or whatever your website goal is. So now whichever version A or B gets a higher conversion rate is a winner. And that's the one you'll use on your website because it's doing a better job at getting people to take the action, right? So why do you do all this? It helps you to keep improving the user experience and getting more people to do what you want them to do on your website. And what can you A/B test? So you can A/B test a wide range of elements and variables such as homepage layout, navigation menu structure, CTA button colors, text, font, and placement. You can also check which content format resonates and work better with your audience in terms of conversions and engagement. Moving on to experiment 101. So here I'll talk about the metrics that you need to keep your eyes on while A/B testing. So there are 4 types of metrics: primary metrics, supporting metrics or secondary metrics, health metrics, and binomial goals. Starting with primary metrics. So these are what you pay close attention to. They are the KPIs, that is the key performance indicators, and it's basically what you want them to achieve by the end of the experiment. So imagine Zilker Fashions, an online clothing store, wants to increase the sale of their summer collections on their website. So the ultimate goal is to get more people buy their clothes. So in this scenario, the primary metric of the KPI for the A/B test should be conversions. Supporting metrics, aka secondary metrics, they are basically like sidekicks in an A/B test. They may not be the main heroes, but they provide crucial context and insights that help you to understand the bigger picture and can also help you with the hypothesis. So let's use the same example from the previous metric. The primary metric there was conversions, whereas the supporting metric would be things like the average time visitors spent on the website or the bounce rate. So also you can have only one primary metric in an A/B test experiment, but you can have several supporting metrics. Moving on to health metrics. So these metrics tell you how the experiment is doing and whether it's causing any side effects. Basically monitor the overall health and the stability of your experiment. For instance, you want to make sure that your A/B test isn't slowing down your website's page load time or affecting its speed. So, because nobody likes a slow website, right? And it can also drive visitors away, which is the opposite of what you want in an A/B test. Moving on to binomial goals. So these are discrete metrics with just 2 possible outcomes, which makes them straightforward and easy to interpret. They're not the primary criteria for the experiment success. And these goals can be measured in all experiments, and every metric can be calculated as a binomial goal, and you don't need to add them as a part of experiment. They'll just give you an idea of how the change impacts your experiment. For example, your primary goal is to increase overall conversions, and the binary goal could be that you can monitor whether the number of successful transactions has increased or not. So, how do you create a hypothesis? Here's an example of a clear hypothesis. Changing the color of the buy now button from blue to red on your website will lead to higher conversion rate. So this is the example of a clear testable A/B test, right? Testable hypothesis for an A/B test, right? You can see that it proposes a specific change, that is changing the color of the buy now button from blue to red, and also predicts an outcome, that is a higher conversion rate. So the primary metric here would be the conversion rate, and the secondary metric would be the CTR, the click-through rate for the buy now button. The health metric here would be the page load time, because you should monitor that the changing the button color shouldn't actually impact the website speed. And the binomial goals in this case would be the binary measurement of the success or the failure of each version of the button. For example, success is when a user clicks on the buy now button after seeing the red variation, and failure is when the user does not click on the buy now button even after seeing the red variation. Now we will dive into the advanced A/B testing features of Zoho PageSense, starting with goals and custom goals. So goals and custom goals can be used to track which variation is performing best and to identify areas where improvement is needed. It also offers custom and predefined audience segments to help you create more targeted and effective experiments for your website. PageSense offers two types of experiment methods, Bayesian and frequentist, and we also have three types of experiment activation mode that allows you to choose when you want to show the variation to your audience. You can also schedule your A/B test to start and end at a specific date and time. This is useful for testing different versions of your website during peak traffic times or for targeting specific seasonal promotions. So we have visual editor, it is inbuilt. It's a drag and drop editor that allows you to create and edit variations of your web page without having to write any lines of code. We also have global code and JS to create highly customized variations of your web pages and test different elements and designs to see what works best for your audience. We also have cross-domain tracking that gives a comprehensive view of your visitors navigating across various domains. For example, if a visitor comes to your website and casually goes through other pages on your website, and without this particular feature, without cross-domain tracking, it will be counted as two different sessions instead of a single session, leading to incorrect visitor tracking data, which may in turn affect the metrics. And the conversion forecast is a functionality that gives you a probable conversion rate that each variation will achieve even before the test is complete. We have advanced URL targeting, and this feature can be used to target and show variations to a specific or a group of pages on your website with different URL match types. We also offer a Chrome extension that allows you to create heat map and A/B testing experiments to track your visitors on every web page of your website within minutes. You can also share your A/B testing reports with others using a password. You can also set an expiration date for the shared reports to ensure that only those people you want to have the access can view the reports for security purposes. So the best part of our product Zoho PageSense is that you can combine your A/B testing results insights with other tools. For example, you can view variation specific heat maps to identify the elements and engage or frustrate users to support your A/B testing hypothesis. You can use session recording to compare user behavior on different variations of a page, so you can see how users interact with each and determine which is more effective. You can also implement polls and pop-ups on different variations of your product pages to get in the moment feedback during A/B test by using a pop-up form. And yes, moving on to the integrations and benefits. So here I'm going to talk about those that are very specific to A/B testing module in Zoho PageSense. Starting with Google Analytics and Tag Manager. So with this integration, Zoho PageSense transfers all your A/B testing and split URL experiment data seamlessly to Google Analytics. This means that you can consolidate your website performance data and experiments in one place, access in-depth Vista metrics for A/B testing experiments running on your website within Google Analytics. You can also basically you can get a holistic view of how your web experiments are performing. The next one is Mixpanel, and this integration is super useful if you're already a Mixpanel user. You can automatically push the results of your website experiments to Mixpanel to easily correlate your experiments with key business metrics such as conversion rates, revenue, and user engagement. And the next one is OpenAI. So you can use this integration within the Visual Editor. You only need to select the text element you want to for new copy suggestions. Enter your prompt and watch ChatGPT 3 generate multiple copy recommendations based on your input. You can also use the same trick for product descriptions, headlines, and CTs as well. Now for the live demo, we have Malati, a product expert, who will be walking you through the A/B testing module.
Thank you, Aarti. Hello, everyone. I'm Malti from PageSense product team. So in this session, I'll be walking you through creation part of A/B test in Zoho PageSense. So let me start sharing my screen. And I hope the screen is visible now. So you will be able to locate the A/B test feature under the Optimize module. So on the left-hand side, there are like multiple modules available within the PageSense. Starts with Analytics, Track, Analyze, Optimize, Personalize, and Engage. So you can identify the A/B test under the Optimize section. So before you start creating any A/B test, you always need an hypothesis, the purpose behind creating an A/B test for. So let's say uh, there is a certain changes which you wanted to make, but before making them right on your live website, it is always recommended to have a test. So to perform those actions, you can able to do that with the help of A/B test functionalities. So let me just show you a sample website which I have created. And this is my e-commerce site where I have added some products to it. And I also have a long form on my homepage. So for this specific form, I'm not getting a lot of conversion. That could be due to multiple fields. So this is my hypothesis. Like I just wanted to reduce or remove few fields from the specific form so that I can understand if having multiple fields in a form is making the conversion rate. So with the help of PageSense A/B test, I'm going to configure a new variation where I'll be having a very minimal fields in my form, and I'm going to check how this is going to work out among my website visitors. So to begin creating with A/B test, you have to just click on create new A/B test part, provide a name, and under the experimental URL, please provide the experimental page which you wanted to test for. So here the form is present in the home page. So I'm going to configure the experiment for my home page part. And you also have an advanced functionality to target your experiment. So rather than experimenting for one page, you also have additional option to conduct this experiment for a group of pages in one experiment. So let's say I'm going with URL contents and I'm going to run this experiment only for the product pages, which means this experiment will be running for the pages which has the keyword product, and I'll be able to experiment all these pages under one experiment part. And creating this A/B testing part is we can do it in two different ways. Let's say when it comes to a home page or a product related page, you can do the changes using PageSense Visual Editor inside the application. And let's say there is another way where if a website is having a login session and you wanted to make changes for the web pages beyond login session, we also able to do that using PageSense Chrome extension, which Aarti mentioned before. So here in this PageSense Visual Editor, your experimental URL will be loaded, how actually it is rendering on your website. So here I can see my form is also loaded. Inside this editor part, I have multiple elements to play with. So let's start with the floating toolbar. So here I have an option to edit the style of the page elements. I can insert HTML or insert some text images, and I can also change the background images. And also I get an option to edit the content which is already available, and I can also edit the text HTML. I'll be able to move an element from one position to another position. I can hide and show the element. I can remove few content, and I can also set a direct element like goal using the visual editor part. So as I said, this form is pretty length. I'm just going to remove some of the fields from the specific part. So whatever changes I'm going to make, it will be only applicable for the variant which I am creating inside this visual editor. So your main page, that means your experimental URL will be remain untouched. And so I have just made few changes in the form part. And before getting into the next set of configuration, so let's see what are all the other features which we have inside the visual editor. So on the left corner, you have an option to create new variations. So it is possible to create more than one variation for one experiment inside A/B test. And you can toggle between devices, and it will be acting as a preview mode to check how the changes is going to look in different devices. You have undo and redo option, and there are two different modes. With the edit mode, you will be able to make changes inside the specific variant. And when you're in interact mode, the specific visual editor acts as a browser, and it helps you to navigate between pages inside your website. So you can easily navigate to the next page where you would like to make few changes for. So now the next thing is like JS available in the visual editor and global code. So let's say I want to make the changes only for the specific variation, and whatever the changes I make using these floating toolbar, they will automatically be updated in the specific part, in the JS part. Or I can also write a code here that will be applicable only for the specific variant. So let me go back to my homepage editing part, and I'll show how the JS will look like as well. So I have removed a few fields here, and I have to just save the settings, and now I can able to see what the changes I have made here. And I can also do some CSS changes here. When it comes to global code, let's say you're going to have more than one variant, and you're going to make one change common across all the variants. So instead of doing it again and again, you can just write the code directly here, and it will get reflected for all the variants created inside the specific experiment. And once everything is done, you have to just save it, and you have to proceed with the next configuration step. So we just saw how to create the variation changes for the website with some product pages, or with some website which will be related to B2B or B2C. So let's see how the web pages beyond login session can also be edited using this visual editor part. So you have we have PageSense Chrome extension readily available. You can just install this plugin in your website browser, and please go to the specific page where you wanted to make changes, and you can just hit on the specific icon on the specific extension bar. Click on the plus sign. You get two different experimental options. Please go with A/B testing part, provide a name, and select to which project the specific experiment should be associated. And once you hit on create, the visual editor will be loaded on the browser directly. So you can just see the floating toolbar right here. You can make changes according to your requirement. You can also toggle between devices. You can view the changes which you have done in the visual editor part directly under the JS. You can also toggle between edit and interact mode. You can save it, and when you just hit on next, you will be automatically taken to the next step of configuration, which is goals. So goals in A/B test is one of the deciding factor to let you know which is actually winning the specific experiment, either the original variant or the variations which you have created. So for my website, I just revamped my form and I want to understand how the form interaction is going to be. So I have like different set of goals I can create inside the A/B testing part. I have element click where I'm just going to create the specific element click goal for this form submission. So I'm going to just select the join now button as an element to track. And when I just interact with this, the element will automatically fetch and I can save it. So apart from this, if I want to check how many visitors are navigating from my home page to product page, I can create a link click goal for that. I can provide a value, the redirection URL here directly, I can save it. And to check how many visitors are actually how many visitors are actually staying on a specific page, or how many visitors are actually viewing a specific page. So let's take an example of my order confirmation page. So how many visitors are successfully reaching this thank you page or the payment confirmation? I can provide a page view goal for this specific content, and I can also monitor how many have successfully reached a specific page. And as it is an e-commerce website, I care more about the revenue. So I also have an option to check how many revenue has been, what is the revenue generated for the specific period of time as well. The only thing will be I'll have to just copy this code and add it in the confirmation page criteria, which means I have to add it when a visitor is navigating to a thank you page or a payment confirmation page. So this I can do it with the help of my development team. And the next comes the time spent on page code. As it is an e-commerce site, as I said, if you want to look how many visitors are actually spending their time on new arrival page, you can just configure a time spent on page goal and just allocate a threshold how long they can stay to become a converted visitor, then can save the changes. So anyone who is staying for a specific threshold which you have declared here, they will be considered as a converted visitor. And apart from this, I also have some engagement goal. Anyone who is interacting or making a single click on my web page, showing their engagement, I can also monitor that. And at last, I have something called custom event goal, where when an element which doesn't have a redirection path, or if it is loading within the web page, in that scenarios, if I wanted to track the clicks on the specific CTAs, I can go with this custom event. So when you check my website's checkout page, the URL remains the same, and when I just hit on continue, it is going to take me to the next set of pages where I have to just click on complete order. So the action is like the important one, but the URL remains the same. So in these scenarios, I'll be able to add my custom event code on the specific CTA's success function. So it is very easy for me to understand even how the clicks are happening on the buttons, even it doesn't reload as well. So once the configuration parts are done, so next is something which I have to monitor, like to which set of audience I'm going to target this experiment for. So by default, like I can target this A/B testing experiment for all my visitors. And I also have an option to allocate the percentage of audience who will be the participant of this specific experiment as well. Apart from this, I do have some interesting option where I can customize my own audience. As I run my e-commerce website, and very soon I'm going to launch a Google AdWord campaign as well. And I want to show this variation only for the visitors coming from a specific ad campaign. I can just go ahead with this preset segment of audience where I could see paid campaign traffic. So this means any visitor who comes through a Google AdWord campaign will be seeing the variance which I'm going to create inside the specific experiment. Else, I also have some other plans. I just want to drill down the visitor's location. I wanted to check how the specific changes are being welcomed among those set of visitors. I can do that with the help of custom audience. So here I get an option to customize my own audience for this experiment where I can use and or logical operation. I can have multiple conditions together. I can save them and I can target my audience very easily. So for now, I'm going with all visitors as I'm going to test only the form page part. So once the audience targeting is done, here comes the configuration part. As it is an A/B test, where the variants are created using the visual editor, which is available inside the application. Any visitors who is interacting with your experimental URL, they will be seeing the variation based upon the traffic split which you are going to provide in this area. So this traffic split is something which you will be providing from your end. Based on this, number of visitors seeing the original and variants will differ. So it could be 50-50 percentage, or it could also be 60-40 or vice versa as well. So once the segment traffic has also been set, and as I said, goals are the one of the important thing which is considered and determined to determine the winner variation inside the experiment. And this experimental method available under the configuration will help them to achieve the same. We have two different methods inside the PageSense A/B testing. One is Bayesian. This method tells you the probability of variation A performing better than B, comparing the previous day data collected during the experimental timeline. Whereas frequentist will let you know whether the variation A or B is going to win by calculating how many times the event has occurred in a visitor sample. PageSense will be announcing the winner based upon the targeted visitor count if it is reached or not. If the visitor traffic is not as expected, PageSense will let you know how long you should run this experiment for. So that will be shown with the help of the statistical significance level, which you are going to select under the frequentist method. So statistical significance is nothing but it will help you to measure the outcome of the experiment, which is completely based on the changes which you have done using the visual editor, but not because of any random chances. So as I wanted to run this experiment for a longer time, I have like 3 different statistical options as well. One is like quick trends, where I get 90% of accuracy. In optimal, I'll get 95% of accuracy in my result. And in high accuracy, I'll be getting like 99% of accuracy in my result. So I do not want to compare the previous day data and to check how it is performing today. So I'm going to go with the frequentist method and I'm going to run it for a longer term. So I'm going to stick with high accuracy, where my result will be highly accurate, like with 99%. The one thing is like, I have to run this experiment for a longer time to get the higher accuracy. So once the experimental methods are set, the next comes the experimental activation mode, how the experiment need to be activated. Either do I need to activate it like as soon as the page is getting loaded, or let us consider like anyone who is interacting with the specific CTA on a specific page. You can go with the second option, copy this code and paste it on that CTA part. Anyone interacting with that button, the experiment will be launched automatically. Else, I do not have access to my website's code, or I do not have access to my native HTML part. But I have the content to write as a logic here. You can just write the logic behind like what is the condition to be provided to activate this experiment. So whenever the logic is turned as true, the experiment will automatically be launched. And I also get an option to enable my heat map to check how the heat map is working with the variation which I have created using the A/B test, where I also get to see the scroll map and the attention map for the variation parts as well. And I have option to schedule the experiment later, and I can also mention on which day at which time the experiment need to be launched automatically. And as Aarti mentioned, we do have some tight integration with Google Analytics, Kissmetrics, and Mixpanel, where you will be able to push the A/B test experiments visitors data as an event to these respective applications. So once the configuration parts are set, we'll be requesting you to just check out whatever the changes which you have made for this specific experiment. You can go through like what is the experimental URL you have provided, how many variants you have created, the traffic distribution, goals which you have set, your targeted audience, and your experimental methods. So before I launch it, I want to check how my variation is going to reflect for the customers or for my website visitors. I have launched QA mode, where a QA mode will be displayed on the left panel of your website, where it let you know like how exactly the changes are going to reflect. So I have like 2 different experiments running for the same page. So the latest one which I have created is this for the form. So this will be the original, and I'm going to target how the variation is going to look. I removed a field and it is reflecting as expected. I can also define my audience segment here, how it is going to be visible for a specific group of audience. So if I'm going with location-based targeting, I also get an option to check how it is going to reflect in a specific group and how it is not going to reflect for the other country visitors as well. And the activities, whatever I'm defining and doing with the visual editor will get updated here. You get an option to generate the QA mode link and you can share it with your colleagues to check how the variant is going to reflect for your live visitors. So once the QA mode is all set, you can go ahead and launch the experiment. So once the experiment is launched and once you start receiving the visitors data, the conversion part, so you will be able to see 3 different reports inside the A/B test: overview, detailed analysis, and the heat map report. So under overview, you will be able to see how many visitors have been visited your experimental page so far, how many variants you have created, the goals you have created, when the experiment was started, and when it was paused, your active durations. Under the leaderboard, this helps you to understand how exactly the goals you created inside the A/B test is performing, how the goals are performing in original, how the goals are being performing in the variation. You will be able to see the number of variants, the visitors for the respective variant, the conversion obtained for the variant along with the conversion rate. And the winner of the experiment will be declared on the primary goal which you opt for the specific experiment. So you can just do the same for all the goals which you have created here. And under the detailed analysis part, you have like 2 different kinds of report, a graphical report and a tabulation report about the statistical significance part. So in the graphical part, you will be able to see time-based as well as the cumulative. So under time-based report, it will be updating the data distributed across the time which you are choosing here. And this is going to be independent of each other. You will be able to see how many visitors you have received, how many visitors from original and the variants. And if you want to see the cumulative data, that means the data point which is calculated as a sum over a specific time, you can view that as well here. We also have an option to enable the forecast where you can predict the futuristic change in conversion for a specific range of time as well. So you can toggle between the goals experiments which you have created within the A/B test. So under the tabular column, under the tabular view of statistical report, you get to know the variance, conversion, and conversion rate detail along with the difference interval, improvement, and significance data. So here difference interval is nothing but the range in which your original and variation pages, how many ever you create here, and its conversion rate. It will be comparing how exactly each variant and what is the difference between the first variant to the second variant. Accordingly, the improvement will be updated, which is nothing but the relative difference between the conversion you received in the original and the conversion you received in the variants. And when you see the last part, which is significant, it helps you to understand how many more visitors you require for the specific experiment in order to just achieve the statistical significance, and also which is actually winning, to declare which is actually winning the specific experimental part. So how many ever goals which you are creating inside the A/B test, the tabular report for the same will also get updated. So you also have an option to select the date ranges to view the report for a specific group of date. And if you want to filter your report for a specific audience, let's say since you are running this experiment for all visitors, and I wanted to see how many visitors are from the specific region or how the visitors are interacting with my website from a specific browser, I can just view it in the specific segment audience part. I have 2 different kinds of segmentation. One is smart segmentation. I'll be having preset segments. I can just select it and I can just click on apply. I'll be able to view the report only for the specific audience. Whereas in advanced, I can choose my own segment and I can also create some multiple segments with and or logical operation. I can view the report only for a specific group of audience as well. And here comes an option to export your report in the CSV format. Along with that, you also have an option to share your report using a password generated link. And you can always pause and relaunch. If you would like to make any changes to your experiment, you will always have an option to pause and then you can relaunch it in a very successful manner. The last report will be the heat map report. If the heat map option is enabled within the configuration, you can able to see the heat map report for the variations which you have created as well. So let me just quickly check how the first variation which I'm creating was being behaved in the heat map part. Heat map is nothing but it helps you to know that clicks happen on the specific page or specific element with the color coding technique. So I can just understand like how many clicks are happen in the specific CTAs. I also get scroll map and attention map to see how visitors have scrolling my variation pages and how long the visitors are staying on the specific fold of my variation page. So all these insights I'll be able to get using the scroll map as well as from the attention map. So this is all about creation of A/B test and the reports and the insights which you get from A/B testing part. So it is not like whatever the changes which I do, it is going to be in a very successful way, or it may fail as well. So here we'll be requesting, I have to just do this experiment for a specific period of time. And what I'll be doing is like, if the results are as expected, if I receive the maximum visitor count, and if I receive a maximum conversion for each variant which I receive, so I can come to a conclusion the changes which I made is actually working. What if the results are inconclusive? I'll be sticking to my original page, which is already live, and I'll be conducting or I'll be tweaking my variation in a different manner to check out which is actually going to work for my business. So this is all about A/B test visual editor creation and reporting part. So please let us know like if you have any queries in the chat box as well, and we do have Q&A session at the end of the part. Now I'm going to hand over the session to Aarti again, where she'll be explaining a real-time scenario of the A/B testing with Zoho PageSense. Over to you, Aarti.
Thank you, Marathi.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was a quite detailed walkthrough, Marathi. Thank you so much again. Uh,
You're
so,
welcome.
so as you mentioned earlier, that's an interesting case study that I want to share. So Zoho Survey, an online survey tool, implemented Zoho PageSense and witnessed a 4.90% boost in their sign-up page traffic. So Zoho Survey actually has run many experiments, okay, and one of these experiments involved in revamping their employment status template page to add more prominence to the templates, content, CTAs, and this particular experiment resulted in higher engagement and conversions. So So the first A/B test was focused on improving the click-through rate with CTA testing. So this A/B test is an excellent example on how you can leverage colors to boost your website's conversions. Zoho Survey decided to A/B test the existing blue-colored CTAs with red and black variants to influence the CTRs. And the hypothesis was that the original blue CTA, you can see here, wasn't contrasting enough with the page layout, and the bold red and black colors would potentially entice visitors to click more. And they ran the test for like 30 days. And the Zoho survey found that the red CTA outperformed the other variants, projecting a 9.3% increase in click through rates with just 527 visitors. And with this data, the team decided to implement it in the new version of the website. The second A/B testing was focused on testing the performance of the new homepage variant. So after thorough research of using Zoho PageSense tools, uh, the survey team revamped the homepage to increase sign-ups, scroll-ins, and sign-up page visits. So you can see here that the new version outperformed all the goals that the survey team had tested for. The team is now like they are planning to revamp all their 200 plus web pages with the same new design, and they are super confident that these changes will definitely boost conversions and user engagement in the forthcoming months. So you can see here, right, how important it is, how crucial it is to promote a culture of data driven decision making through experimentation, regardless of the industry that you work for or in the business that you own. So even a minor change in your website when backed by data can positively impact your conversions and revenue. So I know some of you are familiar with the different CRO tools out there, but how is Zoho PageSense different from them? This shift might sum it up for you. So, if you want to dip your toes into experimentation, your first encounter would be with the dreaded broken data monster, because you definitely need valuable data to make informed decisions. And if the metrics are mismatched and the graphs are erratic, you'll be lost and confused. Your second encounter would be with the hippo, that is the highest paid person's opinion, who strongly believes in gut feelings over data. And third one would be the lack of resources, especially if you're on tight budget. And if you're already bearing the price tag of multiple CRO tools, which at the end is nothing but a leaky pipe. So now here's how Zoho Patrons can be your ultimate ally. So what is Zoho Patrons? What can you do with Zoho Patrons? With PageSense, you can analyze user behavior on your website using heat map, session recording, and other tools. We also have an inbuilt website analytics to track important KPIs and other metrics. You can also identify potential barriers to conversion on your website using session recording. And you saw how you can run A/B tests to compare two different versions of a page. We also have a personalization tool that allows you to create tailored experiences for users on your website, and we have one entire module for engagement that includes polls, push notifications, and pop-ups to increase website engagement. And not to mention, PageSense is flicker free, which means that when you run an A/B test or any other CR experiment on your website visitors will not see any flickering, and this is to ensure that the experiment results are accurate. And like it mentioned earlier on the slide, Zoho Pages is the only product that offers 10 plus CRO tools under one platform. So this is our pricing plan starting at $16 per month. Our plans are designed to suit different business goals with unique plans available for every business size. Also, we are currently offering a flat 40% discount globally on all subscription plans. So yes, that's it from my end. Please feel free to ask any questions, and our support team is right here online with us to answer them. Thank you.
Tati, I think we have a couple of unanswered questions which we can read out, and a couple of questions which they wanted to understand in detail. So we can repeat and give them a small
Yes, ma'am.
explanation on that.
Yes. So Valeria has asked, can I integrate payments with Zoho Analytics? So yes, like I mentioned, Malti mentioned, this integration between Zoho, Pages, and Analytics is in a roadmap. We'll keep you posted. But if you still want to use an analytics feature, we already have an inbuilt analytics tool that you can explore. And so Jens has asked us one question. Can you test across multiple pages with Zoho PageSense? That is making different changes depending on the page. For instance, in a funnel, or making similar changes on different language versions within a single test to increase volume. Yes, you can run A/B tests from multiple web pages in one experiment and using advanced URL targeting feature that Malk had mentioned in the webinar. One more question from Valeria. Is it possible to test with PageSense the whole landing page layout? Like Malti mentioned, generally A/B test is used to make small changes to your experimental page, you can use PageSense Visualizer to make changes to your variants. So one more question from Jens Van. How can you measure and monitor health metrics with patients? So like I mentioned earlier, Jens, we have an inbuilt website analytics tool where all these important KPIs can be tracked the minute you implement the code, tracking code on your website. So yes, you can measure and monitor health metrics with patients using our web analytics tool. Will the session be sent by email? Yes, Joe. The recording will be sent to you to your registered email address in probably in 2 to 3 days. And one more question from Valeria. So, can you remove internal users from the experiments? So, not no actual clients from the data, so that you don't want to add noise to the data. Like Malti mentioned, yes, you can exclude the internal traffic using patient's IP filter in the project level. Malati, are you there? Hello.
Yes, Aarti.
Saulo has asked one question. What is the difference between simple URL match type and exact match URL?
So, hi, Solo. So, thanks for posting your query. So, the main difference is something when it comes to exact URL match, the experiment will look for each and every keyword whichever you are providing in the specific value. But when in case of simple URL match, so let's say like your URL is having some query parameters or your URL is having some hash parameter something. So in that scenario, the query parameter part will be ignored and only your home page will be captured in the specific experiment. So let's say you wanted to track the experiment with the query parameter, then you can go with this exact match URL part.
Thank you, Malati.
You're welcome, Arti.
One more question from Ariva Kalanti. I'm projecting it. So patients can test whole website with different types of applications.
Hi, Kalanti. So this is Malti again. So you will be able to experiment your website with Zoho PageSense application. So can you please help me with little specification, like what kind of application you are looking into? We support website as well as web application.
One more from Monica Halson, projecting it. If you are removing required fields from a form, how does it handle submissions? The API will still be looking for answers for those questions, but the user won't see them.
Hi, Monica. So when it comes to removing certain fields, so I'm not As long as like I'm not removing any mandatory fields. So in my form, I don't remove or make any changes to the mandatory fields part. So I'm just removing the additional fields, which is not mandate. And whenever a form is getting submitted, I'll also be getting conversions through that as well. So if you have different queries with respect to this, we can take it offline. We can connect over a call post the session, and I can help you with that as well.
One more from Monica. Can you test bounce rate on PageSense? Marathi, so she has one more question, and whether
Okay.
can you test bounce rate on PageSense?
I just need some specifications with regarding to bounce rate. So if Monica is looking for the form related stat to understand how many are abandoning the form, it is possible to do the same using PageSense form analytics, where you get to see number of successful submission and number of abandons as well. So if it is something different, I would request you to elaborate, Monica. Else we can take it offline and we can also discuss on the same.
One more from Hariharan. Can I track conversions and goals with Zoho PageSense? Marathi, can you hear me?
Aarti?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you please
Uh,
highlight the question once again?
so one more from Hariharan. Can I
Mhm.
track conversions and goals with Zoho PageSense?
Yes, it is possible to track goals using Zoho PageSense. We have like 4 different project goals, and we do have like 7 different goals inside A/B testing and split URL testing as well. So based on your requirement, like let's say you want to track any CTAs or links, you will be able to create goals and you will be able to view how exactly it has been interacted among your website visitors as well.
One more from Valeria, Marathi.
Mhm.
How can we connect with your team for extra support? We already have purchased the whole Zoho suite.
Okay, so we are available 24 cross 5 over chat support as well as email support as well. So you will be having chat option within the application, and also on all the pages in Zoho PageSense page, you will be able to see a chat widget which will be directly connecting to our PageSense support. So you can reach out to us anytime with your queries or need any clarifications.
So Amit has asked one, can you point us to webinars for best practices for increasing conversions for e-commerce sites? Yes, I think there was a webinar that we did with commerce team. I'll just share the link with you or chat, Amit. And also we do have plans to come up with solution-based webinars in our pipeline. So we'll keep you posted on more things. So one more from Hariharan Malathi.
Mhm.
What kind of support and documentation does Zoho provide for patients users?
Okay, so Hariharan, like our knowledge base which we have for Zoho PageSense is updated day to day, updated, and you will be able to find all the information, step to configuration, how to use certain features, and how to use these modules inside the application through that. So please help me with if you're looking for any specific documentation. So once the webinar is done, I'll be able to share the same with you over an email.
Thank you, Bharati. Any more questions, anyone? Okay. Okay. Since Amit has asked one for one email, okay, Amit, I have posted the recent webinar that we did with Zoho Commerce on how to increase conversions and everything. So you can go through the webinar. And also, we, like I mentioned earlier, we do have plans to come up with solution focused webinars in the future. So we will keep you posted. You're welcome. So yes, anyone else? Any other questions, guys? Hariharan asked one question. Can I use Zoho Patience to improve my e-commerce website's performance?
Yes, Hariharan. You can use Zoho PageSense, and it is something like the way you wanted to improve your e-commerce website, either what exactly changes which you are looking for, and how you wanted to test. So that can be done using Zoho PageSense. So we have like multiple features within the application and different modules where you will be able to um, check. You will be able to do all the changes using the application as well.
And also, Hariharan, I have shared you a link on the chat. You'll be able to see that. So you'll have a clear idea on what all you can do with Zoho Patience for your e-commerce website. So how you can use the features to optimize your e-commerce website. Any other question? Any link for SaaS products? Yes, we do have. I'll just give me 1 second. Here you go, Valerie. I hope this you find this useful. Oh, thank you so much, Valeria. Thank you. Okay, Hariharan has come up with some one more question. Is Zoho Patent compliant with data privacy regulations like GDPR?
Yes, Hariharan. We adhere to GDPR.
Any more questions? Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you, Gautam. Thank you, Hariharan. Okay, then. So, yes, thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this webinar. Thank you for posting some interesting questions. Gave us a clearer understanding of what your requirements are. So yes, I feel free to reach out to us at support@zohopagesense.com, and we're also very active on all our social media pages handles like LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach us out there also. And yes, you'll receive the recording in a day or two. Meanwhile, thank you so much, guys. Please do feel free to explore the product and get in touch with us if you need any assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.